Hey y'all, how you doing? Okay, first of all, we're back out in the garage, and I want to say thank you to everyone who has subscribed, and it's just amazing. Okay, 359 as of last count. So, this I really appreciate that. For those of you who haven't subscribed, what are you waiting on? Hmm? I mean, really, you're getting all of this content. You get to see the inside of my garage. You get to see this Barracuda, which is now covered up with stuff. But you got to see it run last week. You get to see this truck, 92 D150. And right now, you get to see what do you do with a brake line when the end is rusted or the nut on the end is rusted solid. What do you do? How do you fix that? How do you fix this? Right here, how do you fix this? I can't turn that. Let me clamp it in the vise a little bit better. I was doing it one-handed, basically. Let's see here. Alright, there we go. I think this would be a little bit better. Yeah, there we go. Alright, that's better. Okay, look. 3/8 wrench. It fits on there. I cannot. Oh, wait. Okay. Alrighty. Sorry. I was going to show you how to get this loose when it's seized up on there. Okay. But this son of a gun is moving pretty free. So, the other line on the other side of the rear axle housing, it is moving nice and free. And I had to heat it up with a torch. What you do, you just take a torch, you heat it up, okay, you heat up the nut, okay. Let me back the camera away just a little bit because you're really close. But you heat it up, okay, and then when you do, then after you get it kind of pretty hot, most likely red or really close to being red hot, you can start moving that nut again, okay. That's what you do. And then you can just come over here and it's just doing this, okay. So anyway, so that's what you do. Now you can, if you can scoot that back enough, you can get put some anti-seize on there, on the tubing itself, okay. Just on the tubing, just on this part, you put some anti-seize on here and get this to scoot back and get it in between the nut and the tube, and then you can, when you do that, you can get that thing to unseize. Sorry, keep it from seizing up. Okay, see, this thing is turning really nice now. So that's what you do. Okay, now I've just been using PB Blaster on that one. So, okay, this is the right side. It's always the longer one. The left side is a shorter one, because your main brake line comes down the left side of your frame rail. Alright, so, alright, I just wanted to get that done, that little bit done. Nine and a quarter rear, 9 1/4 axle, 2 of them. I went over this before, but I'll go over it again about how to tell the difference between the 2 rear axles. It's not very hard, okay? 8 1/4 and a 9 1/4. I'll just show you here real quick. Here is a 9 1/4. Okay. I'll just take it over here. All right. Here's a 9 1/4 axle housing cover. Okay, the rear cover. As you can see, it's shaped like a stop sign. Okay. 8 1/4 is right here, and as you can see, it is kind of a squat, sort of a squat round, you know, almost circular. It's kind of an oval, I guess you could say. You know, so there you go. 8 1/4, 9 1/4. Big differences in the covers. So, okay. So anyway, all right. Let's see. I'm gonna get my torque wrench. I'm putting the housing in, and it's, you know, like I've shown, it's already loaded with the gears, and I'm putting my housing in here. I think I'm going to torque the U-bolts to 75 foot-pounds. I really have a lot of trouble finding the torque spec for those. Some people said 90. I'm going to go 75. I've already tightened them down some, but I'm going to go 75. Here we go. But now, if you get a clicker style torque wrench like this, you'll see this line right there. Okay, that line, and you'll see numbers. You'll see these little lines that kind of crook up and go over. Okay, so see, there's a line that crooks up and goes over. All right, that's actually the metric side. So we'll go over here to the standard side. So there's 50. You see that line runs over to the middle line. Okay, now what I do, so I want to go 75. So what I do is I find 75 on here. All right, there's 50, 70, and I run it down. All right, there's 75 foot-pounds. Okay. All right. Notice how I'm supporting the ratchet head of the torque wrench. That is the simple bit there to it. Okay, not very hard. All right, now what I did when I took all of this apart is I just took the 8 1/4 and unbolted it, pulled the axles out of it, and unbolted it from the backing plates. Okay, that's all I did. So as you can see right here, here's the end of the axle housing. We've got a really bright light right there, and it's causing some glare issues, so my apologies. But here's the end of the axle housing right here. Over there is one of the backing plates. pretty certain they will interchange. We're going to find out for sure. Okay. Some of you all probably already know. So, what I did was I just left the parking brake cable still attached to the backing plate. And see, just left all my brakes still on the backing plate. Okay, see, you just got your 4 bolt holes right there. Just goes right on these studs. Now they fit kind of tight, so don't be discouraged if it don't just fall on there. Okay, you may have to give it a little oomph, have to give it a little shove. Okay. So, all right, I'm going to put a little NSEs on these. I know that at one time they had some thread locker, but thread locker's actually still on there, and there's a lot of rust, a lot of brake dust in here. That's for dang sure. Of course, there's a lot of rust that gets in here. I'm gonna tell you, it's bad news. These nuts look like they will work. These came off the 8 1/4. It looks like some of them are working. All right, so all right. It looks like they are going to work just fine. Uh-oh. Battery run down on the impact. Okay. Okay. I'm going to pause this. I'll get right back. Okay, y'all. When you are torquing these U-bolts down, be sure to torque them down in such a way that you go about it in some sort of pattern, okay? So that you get an even torque and an even pull. And when you're running these down even, when you're just running them down, you want to do it that way too. That way you're pulling that U-bolt plate up evenly. It's not cocked one way or the other, okay? Because there's not really anything to keep it from doing that if you don't do this correctly. So you don't run down the nuts over here on this U-bolt, okay? And then come over here and try to on the back one and start doing it, because you'll run into a lot of problems, and the shock mount won't be sitting correctly. So you want to go about it. You can go crisscross, or you can go so. Now I'm going to take the torque wrench. Well, I'm going to take my big long F-hitch drive ratchet and use it a little bit. Oh, let me tell you about the some stuff I forgot to mention about the Barracuda. on the Barracuda, from 64 through 66, you could get two different slant six engines, a 170 and a 225. And you could also get two different versions of the 273 V8. The 273, you could get it in two flavors, a 2-barrel V8 or the 4-barrel, which came in the Formula S. The Formula S was the high performance version that year. Man, it's not wanting to click for me, is it? It's 75. What it was on the other side over there. Man alive. It is not wanting to click. I don't know what's going on here. Let's try another one. Yeah, it's not clicking, and it seems like I've exceeded 75 foot-pounds. I always get nervous sometimes about this. See, when you're doing this, you're imparting stretch on the bolt. So it's always kind of I don't want to break these. You know what I'm saying? Okay. So there was 50. Okay. So I'm gonna go up to 60. 60 foot-pounds. All of them are at 60. I know this is boring, so I'm going to just pause this, okay? All right, got them to torque down, got them to click, okay? All right, this is the brake line that the tubing nut seized on, okay? So, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to put the backing plate back on this side too. There we go. Now there's no, unlike the 8 3/4, there's no gasket that goes between the backing plate and the axle housing. Okay? Yeah, there's no gasket that goes in here because this is all open. So yeah, you don't have to worry about that too much. Okay, so just something to be aware of. All right, so I've got those on. Is the nuts for those right here somewhere right close by? Okay, I'm gonna have to go find the nuts for these. I've went and put them somewhere, of course, and I don't know where, don't remember where. So I'll be right back. Okay, y'all. All right, now we're down to the critical part. I've got the U-bolts torqued down. I've got my brake lines on. They're torqued down. The fittings are tightened down. And I've got my axles in. Now, a couple little important tidbits. When you put your axle in over here, make sure you lubricate the axle where it goes into the seal. Okay, you want to lubricate the lips of that seal, and you want to lubricate the part of the axle that rides on the seal. Okay, so part of the axle here that contacts the seal in there, you want to make sure it's lubricated. You want to make sure the lips of the seal are lubricated. You also want to make sure that the axle is clean. Okay, so not really difficult, hard stuff. All right, so I'm gonna pull this out, let you see it. See, you want to make sure that's clean. You want to make sure it's lubricated pretty well, and see, and you want to make sure that it is pushed in all the way. This is a C-clip axle. Okay, so I'm gonna push it back in, and then we'll get started with putting in the C-clips and all of that good stuff. So here we go. Axle goes in, and it goes in all the way. I'll have to go underneath there and put the side gear on the end of the axle. I'll show you what I'm talking about. Okay. Now, I know there's videos getting long, but I'll try to make it brief and make it to where you, ouch, make it sure you get a good picture here. So see my side axle, see the splines on the end of the axle. So here's my side gear. Okay, so just work it around there. And let's see. Okay, let's see what I got to do. It's got to end here. It's got to come up. There we go. All right. Let's see. All right, first, I'm going to put the C-clips in. Okay. Really simple. They just go in like so. And then you push the axle out with your fingers. You should be able to push it out with your fingers. Okay. Now, I usually use synthetic grease in my this rear end here, so that's why you don't see a lot of wear on these C-clips. Okay, so that's why. So they don't have a certain way they go or anything like that. You just put them all the way in, you push them in. There's an indentation in the side gear. Okay, there's an indentation in there for the C-clip to rest in the side gear. Okay, so it's made specifically just for that. So next, spider gears. Alright, so these are pretty easy. You just need to make sure that these have a, make sure you got your washer on them, or shim, okay? What I do lots of times is I'll just roll them in, and they can be somewhat testy at times, okay? So what you'll have to do is, probably the best thing for me to do is to just roll this thing over. Grab the pinion and turn it. There we go, like that, or similar to this anyway. And I'm going to start one on one side, one on the other. Sometimes it's easier said than done. Okay. Okay, so what I'll do, all right, yeah, there we go. Now they're going like I want them to. Okay. Now if you did it right, they should be both in line with each other. Okay. So, and yep, they are in line with each other. You can look through there and sight them, or you can just stick your finger in there, and which I've already done on both of them. Now next is the main pin. It's just a large diameter pin here. Okay, I'm gonna back you up here. All right, so just a large diameter pin. You know, as you're taking this stuff apart, look it over, make sure everything looks okay. All right, and the pin has a hole that should be threaded. Actually, no, it isn't. I'm sorry. My apologies. It's not threaded. But the carrier there, it's threaded. So what I'm going to do, put this in there like so. Wow. All right, went right in there. Isn't that great? Now, one thing you want to do, though, is you want to index this so that the holes here line up with the hole right there. And guess what? The hole isn't right there. It's on the other side. So I'm going to pull this back out. And then I'm going to, well, I know what. Let's see. I'll leave it in there for writing. Well, no. I got a better idea. Here we go. We'll put it in like so. It should be close to being indexed correctly. Then I'm going to just grab the pinion and turn the whole thing over. If I can. There we go. Yeah. And that's something you need to be aware of. That does happen. They will slide right out when the bolt is not in there. Okay. Oh boy, that was not comfortable. Okay. All right. So now we have this funny shaped little bolt right here. I'll show it to you. It has, you see it? It has that long, it's very long, has a shank on it. Okay, now this again is something you want to check it out, make sure it's not broken, not damaged or cracked or anything like that. So in it goes. Well, it goes right there, but I've got to index the hole. Oh boy. Yep, let's see. All right. Reach around here and yep, there we go. Now, the reason why this shank doesn't have any threads on it is it goes inside here and this has no threads in it. It also helps to align all this up. So now this gear marking compound, this yellow stuff, nothing to worry about. Nothing to worry about. When you do not have to clean it off, I've been reading about it. You don't have to clean it off. You can just leave it as is, leave it alone, and go from there, which is exactly what I'm going to do. Okay. All right. This one here is 5/16. So all right. Now I still need to swap over my U-joint because this has a conversion or bastard U-joint in it. So I still got to swap that over. I still got to put the cover on. I got to bleed the brakes. I got to put the brake drums on, adjust the drums up. Wouldn't hurt to do a lot of cleaning on this too. I would have cleaned it, but I kind of wanted to like get this done, and so I'm going to clean it after I get this thing up and going. All right, so here we go. All right, there we are. That is done. Okay, and that means this video is done too. So, which some of you are probably like, oh, thank God. But seriously though, I do appreciate you all watching. If you have any questions, comments, ideas about this video or any of the others, you know what to do. You're smart. Just put them down below. I'll do my very best to get back to you as soon as possible and get back to you as soon as possible and get you answer your questions as soon as possible. So I do thank you. So hopefully I did everything correctly on this project and it's all going to work out good. There is the differential cover and there's the magnet. There's a little bit of metal on it, but it's not bad. I mean, 350 something thousand miles on that, so not shabby, not too shabby. Okay, alrighty, so thank you so much, and you have yourselves a great one, and God bless. Okay, and like I said, God bless.